freaking episode we've all been waiting for. Yeah, this is the trinity of fucking TikTok patriotism right here. So we're missing Mr. Freedom Stick yet, but we do have Packing Patriot and 3 Rows for the 5 seconds they can be up on TikTok.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think Brad will be with us shortly, I believe.
Yeah. It's hard scheduling around 4 people's schedules when you got shit to handle.
And those time zones, those pesky little time zones.
Whatever you want. Oh, yes. Also, my apologies. That was rude. We have Sandry 8 1776, the only one of us that can actually maintain a TikTok account.
No, it wasn't that. That wasn't like a woman thing. That wasn't like, am I here? It was legitimate. Am I part of this, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, grab a chair, do something.
I'm gonna jump outside real quick.
Oh, she's gonna. Oh, that's why she wanted to know.
Yeah, I don't do the typical woman shit. When I ask a question, there's an actual purpose, not a mind.
There's a reason for that shit.
So yeah, with this, I what I do is I release the recording and the audio, the visual on the Patreon first, for the paid subscribers to get the first access to it. Then I release it onto Spotify, and then because I post it on YouTube unlisted, nobody can see it unless they get the link. And then that's how Patreon gets to see it before I switch it over to public and allow it to go out on YouTube as well.
Right on.
You guys were banned from TikTok when I first started the concept with the Patreon, and it was the idea behind it was to start getting people with different perspectives on there to actually have the ones that can have actual legitimate conversation and express the viewpoints and have that back and forth. And I know that they're few and far. But I had found quite a few of them. Swargy44 was one of them. He considers himself to be progressive. But again, when I sat down and talked with the guy, we were saying the same shit. We were on the same language. It was literally like I've been trying to tell people that it seems like both the left and the right are using the same fucking playbook.
I've said it many times. And like we all want the same fucking thing. Like 70 to 80% of us all agree on the same fucking issues. There's just a few issues that we don't agree on, but they think that we're so far apart, and we're not, man. We're right fucking here.
Well, we recognize that it's propaganda, right? Everything you would see on your screens, from your social media to your news to your fucking entertainment, it would all lead you to believe that we were up in arms and ready to just start murking one another in the streets. But everything you see, when you pull your head out of your ass and your face out of the screen and you go into real life, you're seeing that it's not actually the fact, because these same people that on these screens they're telling you are your enemies. You're going to the same grocery stores and shopping right next to them. You're dropping your kids off or picking them up from the same schools. You guys are in the same carpool lanes. You're in the same fucking offices. You're in the same jobs. And all you're doing is trying to slog through life holding this resentment that you're getting from some fucking screen. In everyday life, everything they're telling you on here shows a different story. And everybody's like, oh, we're all so divided. I don't think we're nearly as divided as these screens would have everybody to believe. And that was the idea behind it. I think some of the dissent and some of that appearance of this mass liberal media mindfuck bullshit, I think it might be part of the propaganda to make it feel like we're, like you said, isolated. Like they want us to feel desperate, isolated, emotional.
I got a bit of a different perspective on that there, fellas. There's a lot of us that do have a lot in common. Being in a union shop, some of those guys that voted blue because that's just the way it was and all that. A lot of those guys are pro 2A and this and that and so on and so forth. But you got to keep in mind, there's a lot of these progressives. I'm talking the progressives, the far left people. I don't have a lot in common with them.
No,
I
they're
go to the store and they're wearing their masks and they're different than me. They bought into the rage of Orange Man bad and everybody that supports them. I didn't do that to them. They did that to me. So I have a different perspective. They've been brainwashed into that. would like to bring them out of it, but that's not people like me and you and Michael and that are doing that to them, though. We give you an opportunity. We're telling you what's going on. They don't want. They're very fine with us being removed from online.
It's literal Stockholm syndrome, and I see it to a certain extent on the right itself. For those people that are still so stuck in the action, like Michael said, everybody kind of wants the same thing. The only thing that we're arguing about are the policies. And most of this, when we read the Constitution, most of these fucking policies that the government's coming up with, number one, they're not coming from the people. If you're representing the people, how are you coming up with these policies if we are not the fucking ones presenting them, if we're not the ones asking for them, first of all? How can you claim to be representative of any of us if you're not acting in our behest at this point? And then number two, everybody is so stuck in the policies. Most of this shit they've been able to get a hold of because we allowed them to take that responsibility. Now, people are stuck in literally, it has to be left or right, and they've monopolized that. But there's that one thing that can be done that's outside of all of that nobody factors in. And we see it every time a disaster happens, every time something negative happens, right? It's the public sector. The public sector comes up with the answers when the government's still fumbling and trying to put together a fucking press release to answer shit. What happens? It's actually people like you, like me, like conservative Ant and all that shit that end up actually
who's down there actually passing out food, fucking passing out water, providing shelter, like everything. It was private entity.
The
FEMA's not doing shit down there. I've seen it when I went down to Katrina. I went down to Rita and I went down to Katrina in 05, 07, whatever it was. Went down, worked both of those hurricanes, man. And I seen firsthand that Red Cross and FEMA are pieces of shit.
They've become money laundering schemes. Everything the government touches has become a money laundering fucking scheme. And it's built us. Yep. And yet we still have the power through the public sector. If we start working together, like I said, none of us are nearly as divided as they would have us think. But rather than trying to force one policy upon the other half of the country or this policy on that side, and we keep getting fucked either way, whether you vote left or you vote right, what you're voting for inevitably is more government, either fucking way. So why don't we start creating the public, give them an alternative? I mean, you can't do that through the political spectrum. You can't do that through the political system. You're not going to get it through the justice system. It's all fucking corrupt and we all know it. So the only way to subvert that and subvert that ability to and leverage upon us is to start working together and create these things, because at the end of the day, and we all know it, we can survive without the government. The government can't survive without us. Which puts puts all the leverage in our court, all the power in our court. And we don't even have to really lift a finger or change our lifestyles, right? Because if you
get involved.
Huh?
You just have to be involved.
That's it.
Be active.
You want behind the scenes stuff, I can't get your mouse tool in the picture.
My mouse tool?
I went to take video and I caught it at the bottom of the screen. I tried the angle and couldn't get it, and I'm like,
Do you want to get it from back here where you can?
Well, I was trying all different angles,
Me
but
too.
I couldn't get that out of the screen.
Us coming at that shit at all angles. All angles, man.
Front, back, forward, and side to side.
Well, I'm a photographer, so paying attention to background stuff is just second nature.
She's all about the angles.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Not a bad thing.
But you're talking about the policy differences and you know, people. But the thing is, man, the folks on the left just want more government. They do. I mean, some people on the right, obviously, man, we have our rhinos and they want power and more and more. But that's not the people in the MAGA movement. That's not folks like you, me, and Michael and Brad and
you know what Rhino stands for, right?
Yeah,
Republican in name only.
In name only, and that's all they are. They're fucking liberal Democrats.
You show me a politician, genuine. Show me a politician on the left or the right that abides by the fucking Constitution. And I'm going to show you a tyrant, because none of them do. None of them, not on the left, not on the right. The closest one that you've seen that would even be close to staying in line with the Constitution is Ron Paul, and they intentionally laughed him right the fuck out of there.
I wrote him down. It was my vote. I wouldn't vote for Romney or McCain. I wrote Ron Paul down. And it wasn't a waste for me because I ain't voting. That whole idea.
At least understands the concept of individual liberty.
Real quick. The whole idea that we accepted that you have to vote for the lesser of two evils has always been bullshit to me. Trump changed that for me.
There's nothing in the Constitution that suggests a two-party system. In fact, everything that you read would, from the founders and everything, would suggest otherwise. And even if there were a two-party system, the very concept and idea of it being a democratic party is absolutely anathema to anything the founding fathers wrote. Anything. In fact, they warned in mass, across all of them, warned about things like letting banks control the money, which we have done. Letting a standing army exist, which we have done through all the armed forces. The posse comitatus has been it's trashed. We've militarized the police force, and in fact, they're appointed by politicians. They're controlled by politicians. They are a political arm at this point, along with the three-letter agencies. The monetary system. People are the ones that get really panicked and are like, we have to do something right now before it's too late. And I'm like, what are you trying to save that is actually of our Constitution? What are you trying to save? The monetary system? If that collapsed, good riddance. Good riddance. Keep what you have. And don't let nobody fucking take it from you. And don't let nobody take nothing from your neighbors. That monetary system was a system that was used to keep us under control, and it has done so. And then they've centralized everything from our food, the very things that we use to keep ourselves alive, the food, clothing, shelter, all of it. They have slowly gained control of it to the point that you can't do shit independently. Go ahead and tell me you're free.
They're talking about registering your garden. Those are things that they're talking about next.
Have you seen the FEMA?
Register your garden.
The FEMA executive orders and what FEMA is allowed to do when they declare that emergency? The shit that they can seize everything. Put people in work camps.
I've seen it. I mean, down there after Katrina,
banned the home gardens during the COVID lockdowns.
They tried, here in Michigan, they tried to ban, I believe, home gardens during lockdowns.
Well, they would tape off that section at Walmart to where you couldn't even go to the section to get seats. I mean, you remember there was what was it? There was only what were they? What were the workers called?
Essential.
Same thing with there was essential items. You could only go to the aisles with essential items on them. I mean, people fucking forget this stuff, but I remember going to Walmart and it being, I live in Texas. You're telling me I can't fucking go buy seats? Get the fuck out of my way. No, I'm going down there. I went fucking bought what I wanted. Nobody's going to stop you. There's not a worm at Walmart that fucking thinks his job's important enough to get in my way while I'm walking back there. Oh, okay, go ahead.
They're not joking when they tell you will own nothing and you will be happy, up to and including your own damn self.
Yeah, we're useless eaters, as they call us. They want to thin the herd. That's why they're doing the COVID stuff. That's why they're mandating our kids. Well, they're trying to with the CDC. Good luck with that in my state and some of these other states, though. You got a lot of them that are going to be like, yeah, CDC recommended these kids get the COVID vaccine.
But realistically,
and they're going to be down with it.
I'm looking at it realistically. They're going to try and homeschool, but under this fucking under the current circumstances and with the way finances are for well over 80% of the fucking nation living paycheck to paycheck, most parents are not going to be able to financially afford homeschooling their damn kids.
No. I know.
Which means they're so forced into this shit just for the fact of trying to survive. It's coercion at its fucking.
And it's not only about that though. By them adding it to the vaccination schedule for the kids' school.
Immunity.
That releases any fucking liability that they have, just like all the other fucking vaccines that they have. So, in the next 6 months to a year, when we start seeing double what we're seeing now, triple what we're seeing now, people falling over fucking dead, just doing nothing, they're not going to be held liable for it. when 6-month-old fucking babies are taking the shot and die, that was something wrong with the baby. That was nothing with the shot. Sorry. Like it's that's what this is about.
Do you know how many kids died in 2019 of myocarditis? 4. There's
I was going to say
thousands now. There's thousands now, and it's become. They're trying to make it seem like it's normal.
Did you see the report on fatalities in the military for health-related events and the percentage that it fucking skyrocketed after the vaccine mandate? Like, it was insane. I can't remember if it was 100 or 1,000%.
It was almost 1,000%. It was 900 and something. Yeah, it was fucking. It's way up there, dude. We're not being
adult death syndrome. Like, dude, I remember in middle school when I was the early health classes where they had mentioned sudden infant death syndrome. They had mentioned it. They did a little, but it didn't seem like it was a massive major occurrence, just enough to get a reference, right? Now all of a sudden it's sudden adult death syndrome. You have some of the most healthy people in the fucking world just killing over in the middle of a pro athlete fucking game and shit. Like,
yeah, top athletes in their
I can't remember how many doctors in Canada. I want to say there's 80 or 90 doctors in Canada that have fallen over dead in the last 6 months, and that's starting to raise a lot of questions.
But you had doctors
from the same hospital in the same week.
You had doctors the whole time speaking out, and they got silenced and censored, and they got
One of them's still in jail.
Malone, the frontline
What's her name? I can't remember. She's still in jail. One of the frontline doctors is still in jail right now for being there January 6th.
And a lot of people that were releasing information, you know.
Is she still in jail though, Mike? I know the one that I'm thinking of. They raided her house. The FBI did because she was at the Capitol building. She went in. She followed the crowd in. She was the one of them that you've seen. People would know her name, and I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I can't remember her name right now either.
They terrorized her family. She says she's got post-traumatic stress from it. Like, they knocked on the door so hard, and before she could get there to answer, they kicked it down with red dots all over her. She's a fucking doctor that was trying to bring awareness to something. What the fuck are these people doing in the FBI? They suck a fucking bag of dicks.
Yeah, the people that are still in there for January 6th right now, they fucking wrote a letter asking to be sent to Gitmo because they think that they will be treated better than they're being treated right now at that fucking D.C. federal prison. They'll be treated better at Gitmo. They're not getting to go outside. They haven't seen the sun.
When they complained to the warden about conditions, you know what the warden told them? Our job's only to keep your chest moving up and down.
Yeah,
they're just fine with treating them like terrorists.
Here's the thing. That's no different than they treat any other convict. Those people don't care about the innocence or any of that shit. If they're under their care, that's how they treat them. And they've prophetized the entire fucking prison industry. This is why there's no justice in the justice system. Okay, it except what you can buy, and that precludes justice from the get-go. The majority of things that people are in jail for aren't even fucking crimes under the Constitution. They're not fucking crimes. If there's not a victim, if another individual's inherent liberties and freedoms are not infringed upon, there's no fucking crime. The state and dead entities such as corporations cannot be a victim.
No. I posted a video about 3 weeks after George Floyd, right? In my town, a guy went to jail. He was high on meth, a little strung up, a guy that I went to school with. Well, pretty much the same exact situation. Knee on the back of the neck. They're in the cell. He got a little rowdy. They get in there. They kick the shit out of him. Knee on the back of the neck. Guy saying he can't breathe. He's asphyxiated. He died right there on camera in the jail. I posted that shit. None of that. It's our media. That's where our fucking main problem is. Our media. Absolutely. Our media tells us what. Because that right there had no traction whatsoever. This guy died. White man died the same exact fucking way George Floyd died. High on fucking drugs, choked out by fucking cops, knee on the back of his neck, and no traction. Nobody said shit about this.
They've got this cycle perpetuated fucking great between the left and the right. Don't get it fucked up. They work together at all this shit, right? At least the government. Now, remember, this is what I try to say. The left has some valid fucking shit that they talk about. The right does too. When systemic racism started getting thrown around by the left, real people started actually talking about it. You know what? There is such a thing as systemic racism, but it's not like just all people are white people are racist. No, it's in the government. It's the system. The system is racist, and you can see it in the 94 crimes bill. You can see it in these policies that have failed decade after decade. Instead of retracting them and saying, hey, this didn't work, let's try something new, you doubled down on it and continued to exacerbate the problem that was caused by the fact that your government policies in the fucking first place deindustrialized these city centers, took away these fucking jobs from the people that were there, which at the point in time was a lot of the minority communities, and their fucking family units were stronger than any other demographic in the United States at the time. Then you deindustrialize these nations, and when you took those jobs away from them, what did? You dropped the drugs and the guns into their fucking neighborhoods. That's directly what the government did.
Crack cocaine is a good example of that. A good example of that. And they targeted minority communities. There is no doubt about that. So what you're saying, there is truth to it. There he is.
Hey-o. Hey-o. Hello. Guys, what are we talking about? What I jumped into?
Dude,
we're talking about how the left and the right play everybody against one another.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you got to look at it this way: who's on the left and who's on the right?
All the same people.
Well, just because they say they're on the left, does that mean they're on the left, or does that mean they're
Lindsey Graham? We're looking at you, Lindsey.
We were talking about how it's been failed government policy from both sides after failed government policy from both sides that has literally created every bit of the problems that we have here in our society, period. Right? Systemic racism is real, but it's in the system through the policies like the 94 crimes bill that was created as a result of the policies that the government created to deindustrialize the nation, which was all of those city centers where the majority of the minority communities were centralized around because they were in those factory jobs. And their family units were the strongest demographic across the nation at that point. Then they deindustrialized, and what did the government do? They dropped the drugs, and then they dropped the guns into those inner cities. And watch what happened. And now you've got this complete divide from the fact that, hey, you guys created this shit to the fact that, hey, we got to do law and order. They've created all of these situations, and rather than pull back the policies that have clearly failed, they just doubled down on them and exacerbated the problem. And that's both foreign policy and domestic policy.
Well, that's tactics, man. It's simplistic. It's tactics. If you want to destroy your enemy, this is what you do. It's asymmetric warfare, right? You know, a group or individuals within that group are gonna, operate some kind of stimulus. You give them that stimulus, right? So we just got done talking about dropping the guns and the drugs. And you ever wonder why when you run through the hood, there's a freaking pawn shop on every corner? That pawn shop equals what? Crime. Okay. So these individuals that live in these low-income, areas, right? And it's systematic. I mean, that's the way it is. It's a perpetual cycle, right? Guns, violence, stealing, pawn shops, drugs, alcohol. You drive up and down these ghettos, and all you see is freaking like a freaking pawn shop, a liquor store every 100 feet. But then you drive into like suburbia, you don't see that shit. You kind of wonder. So,
I live right next door to Gary, Indiana.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And you drive into Gary, it looks different than my city and how it's set up. There is a liquor store on every corner. You're right.
Yeah,
and you can see what they've done to these communities. And it makes me sad because for the longest time, they bought into it because they're being told one thing. And then when those people get into office, they fuck them every time. But the Black and Hispanic communities are waking up. They're starting to see that.
Have you seen them yelling at like AOC, Nancy Pelosi?
Yeah.
I love it. AOC was going fucking crazy, dude. She didn't know what to do with herself.
No,
she started mocking them and shit. It was funny.
Well, what's funny is your biggest politicians that want to cry racist, how racist this nation is, and how there's white privilege out there. Most of them are married to white people. It's just
the privilege is in being American, even if you don't understand this fact. Like you are privileged being fucking American, even though they fucked us royally.
People don't get that. I try to wake people up to that every day. 21 years in the military. I lived in Muslim countries. I lived all around the freaking world. coming back home, it's just different sense, you know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you something. Having been all over the world and you've talked to both probably military or government and civilians in those countries as well. I get this general sense that there's a detest for the American government and almost like a mocking of the people itself. Like I hear the constant jokes going back and forth on the left and the right. Well, Trump's a laughingstock to the world. The Biden's a laughingstock to the world. Both may be the case. However, I get the feeling that the majority of it is that the people are actually the laughingstocks of the fucking world as a general thought, because they seem to still understand what a lot of Americans have forgotten, is that we fucking control this shit.
Right. So in regards to that statement and living all around the world, and then, my family's a blended family. We're, half of my family's Australian. Okay. And it's just, always button heads, always listening to other individuals, especially on, over there. In regards to what they feel about Americans, man. Number one, it's perpetrated by the news, by the world news. Okay, that's probably the best way you could think about it, man. Is these nations have their own news network set up, and what they do is they push propaganda to make America look A, B, C, and D. Case in point, we know that in California, LA is a fucking shithole. Okay, but here's the problem. My wife just met up with her girlfriends from Australia, and all these Australian women could talk about is LA because of how it's portrayed to them. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It's insane, right? So this big portrayal that, certain cities are freaking amazing, like New York City, LA, all these other, and they're shitholes, right? Awesome. But that's the point I'm trying to make is they only think we're laughing stocks because of how we're being portrayed on the world, the bigger, what I'm saying, the world stage, right? Their news is portraying us the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're blinders.
Their news turns around and says, these guys run around on frickin' Raptors, eating bacon and shooting everything that moves. That's what Americans are. However cool that might be,
Americans are Texans.
That's not realistic. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so we get a bad rap, and I'm going to tell you, 21 years going all over the place. I bump into so many people, and right out the bat is I hear I fucking hate Americans. I'm like, well, what do you hate about us? And then they'll say something, and I'll say, well, that's like not
Trump. Just like Trump.
Right. And it's like, well, that's not true. Have you ever been to America? Like, no.
It's a very controlled perspective.
Yeah, I'm like, well, you don't know. If you've never been to America, you're talking shit about Americans. Well, Americans are this, and this. So I'm like, well, how many Americans have you met? Well, you're like my fifth one. I'm like, okay, so 5 people. That's you're gonna just deem everyone in America is this way. But yeah,
it's these screens, man. It's these fucking screens.
I mean, what it is, man. I remember, when I was serving with these different forces too, they would always come up to us to say, why are you Americans so freaking, like macho badasses? Like, I don't, and I'm just like, well, look at it this way. Like Polish special forces, that's like an idiocracy all in its own. So don't get me started. I have a Polish.
Everybody bashes them. Everybody does.
Right, but they turned around. They said, "Why are you guys so badass? Why are you guys like blah blah blah?" And I turned around and said, "Look at it this way: like probably 95% of all countries in the world today, you're forced into federalized service." I said it's different for Americans because everyone that you see on the battlefield, everyone that you see is training right now. This is an all. We are here because we want to be here. And when you want to be here, the fight is fiercer than just somebody that's told, go out there and do this. We're here because we want to be here. And I think that trickles down to these, people in different countries where they just think like,
everybody's John fucking Wayne.
Yeah, Americans, they think they're so badass. But when you think about it, like, a portion of our GDP goes towards protecting other nations. Our forces will literally
Is
go
it-
in
Is it
protect other in
Is it-
defense of.
is it Sweden not Sweden, Norway? One of those Nordic countries, we fucking completely subsidize their fucking military budget.
Got it.
It's one of the main countries that socialists hold up because they've got a full fucking social system where the government's paying the people and all this. Their welfare system is insane.
I know we're fully engaged in Germany with all the air bases, and if you're ever in the army, you only serve like one or two places. You serve someone here, somewhere here stateside, or you serve at freaking Germany.
Germany.
That's just how it is. So, yeah, but that's just on the big world stage. That's just that's all I get from people is you guys think you're badass, and I just look at them like, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, my good sir.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, there's somebody, you guys know Jasmanian Devil. She's on IG. I think she's on TikTok as well. She comes from, oh God, help me here. Do you remember, Brad? She was in your class. She was from a Muslim country. I want to say Yemen, but I'm not sure if that's right.
I want to say.
But anyway,
I
asked, was it? I'm not 100%. But I asked her.
Yeah.
What do the people think of American people in those villages that you've seen? And she said, by and large, they know the people are good. They worry about what we do we allow our government to do in our name. But like I said, what would happen if I showed up? I'm with your family. She goes, they would take you into their village. They would feed you. They would ask you questions and be friendly. So I think a lot of these people do realize that it is the government in our name. But then again, we're letting it happen here in America. So at some point, they're going to flip that switch on all of us too. If it continues down that path.
Yeah.
What do you?
But there are people that do see it's not us, it's our government doing shit in our name.
What impact do you see?
So let me back that up. There's a difference between a population being liberated by Americans and just, a first world, second world country watching Americans operate. If you've ever been liberated from tyranny, evil by Americans, the first thing you're going to think is, I love that flag that's right down there. I see that flag and I know I'm going to be protected because I know how these people operate. So that's just the biggest thing. Our biggest critics are people that want to be like us. That was my biggest thing dealing, especially living in the Middle East. And I remember I was out having drinks one night, and I saw this dude, and he looked like an American. He had his hat on backwards. It was like New York hat, black dude, had his hat on backwards, wearing just normal, just American clothes. And I walked up and I, just kind of slide next to him, just to say hi, because I'm like, dude, I see you, you're American, not a lot of us around. And I slid next to him and I was like, what's up, man? And he looks at me all jacked up. And then he says to me, what is this? And I said, what? He goes, what is this? You don't know where I be from? I said, holy shit. I said, where are you from? And I was like, dude, turn off the brother. Like, you're not like fully to the T, the hat, the shoes, everything. And I was just like, I could have literally thought he was just one of my boys in my unit. And he literally was from over there. Like, turn the MTV off, bro. Like, you hate us so much, but you want to dress like us. You listen to our freaking music. It is what it is. So, haters are going to hate. So,
yeah,
it is what it is. And all these countries that are hating on us right now, talking shit about us right now, well, I'm pretty sure that we're the last standing population that stood up and haven't been forced vaccinated yet. So
yeah,
the most people I see talking shit about us are Australians online, anyways.
Oh yeah,
it's usually Australian guys, and they're all talking shit about, you've got your Second Amendment. Why aren't you using it? And
the funny
motherfucker,
thing is,
you gave yours up already. You don't even have your guns.
I've seen quite a few videos of Australians themselves. When I see those videos where they respond, and they're like, "What the fuck are you even talking about?" Like, it's like this shit. The drama and the bullshit is what gets fucking bumped out there so much.
But think about it like this. Think about it like this. If not even your generation, your parents' generation, like basically laid down the ability to their tyrannical government to defend themselves, turn in their weapons because of a false flag. You could look into that shooting, man. That Australians, even to this day, are like that was bullshit. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter now. You don't have any fucking guns.
Right.
Canada went very largely the same way.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, so think about it like this: the reason they talk shit is because the stuff that we're dealing with, we're standing up against. The stuff that they went through, they just folded. Okay, and
we're built different.
We're just built differently. Our constitution's
built different. Man.
I don't know if you see right
that
now.
Rebel spirit is in our blood.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
this nation was born on rebellion, not on occupation.
It was. Listen, that lady on TikTok, bless her, because she said it best. This fucking nation was founded by those that were treasonous to their government, the outlaws, the criminals.
Correct.
That's who declared no more of this shit. We are free. We are the sovereign.
I'll be the first one to tell you I'm a traitor to tyranny. Okay? So you can label me, you can call me what you want. It is what it is.
The newest thing is the draft thing, where everybody, little Scotty actually broached the subject with the draft, and you started seeing the right split down. And granted, it's hypothetical with the draft, and the point was, the draft is slavery. Conscription is forced service. Forced service is slavery. It's the very definition of slavery, and people were arguing that. But other people made very genuine points, like, hey, when you start getting shit like conscription, they're a danger. When they don't want to be there, they are a danger to everyone else trying to fucking survive.
Look, they could talk all they want about a draft, possible war in the future. Who's going to round these people up and force them to go? The only reason that people went off to fight these wars during a draft period is because how much respect they had for this nation.
Yeah, man.
How much respect they have for the government, and how much respect they had for the future.
Let me ask you this though: Do you think? Because I tend to believe this. Now look at it like this: when you're trying to drum up that conscription, you're trying to drum up that service voluntarily in a land where you're looking at an economic crisis and food shortages, and the government is promising to feed you and clothe you and take care of you or your family if you go off to war for them. I think they're going to catch a fucking whole shit ton of people that are desperate.
This ain't Venezuela.
Oh, that's overriding. That train got you.
I'm covering my mic.
Oh, is that you?
You can mute it.
I'm outside. I'm covering my mic. Go for it.
Motherfucker, like a veg, out waiting for the next train to roll to Toledo.
Looking like a wino.
These I thought he was getting censored, man.
Station, if I'm gonna be doing.
Yeah. So
I muted myself until the train passes.
There you go. So back to this whole draft thing. Yeah, people could talk about it. There's so much that people go online to talk about that they're worried about that I'm telling they should not be worried about. And the last thing that you're worried about is a corrupt federal government at this point telling you, you got to go fight our wars.
That was what I said. My video was like this, because dude was like, oh, you'll have two options. You'll either follow those orders and sign up, or you'll end up in the federal. I was like, bro, option 3 is essentially the same option we give to these fuckers when they talk about gun confiscation. Come and fucking take it, because people on both the left and the right are already at this point where we're done with this bullshit.
That's what I was going to say. Is I don't understand how that division is still there between left and right. I don't grasp
the
how
propaganda and media
that the rights and freedoms are being taken from both sides.
That's how politicians stay in power. Look, if you really believe that the difference between the left and the right, you really believe that there's a difference between Republicans, Democrats, they go behind closed doors and they argue for your freedoms. Listen, I want somebody smoking. This is why I'm a constitutionalist. Okay, this is why the only thing that I truly believe in is the constitutional papers of this great experiment we call the United States of America, this great constitutional republic. Okay, I believe in it through and through. I've defended it my whole adult life, and I'll defend it to my very last breath. But at the end of the day, if you want me to sign here on this side here. I don't follow any fucking politician. When people come to me, they're like, "Oh, Trump this." When I get lives, or I used to do social media, you know, these lefties would come out of nowhere and they'd be like, "Fuck Trump," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." It's like they're trying to get a reaction. Like, obviously, don't know whose live jumped into. Okay, maybe that triggers other people, but at the end of the day, I only follow one being. Okay, I don't follow man. Okay, never will, never have. Okay, you know, so that's just the way it is. But that's what they do. Your politicians go behind closed doors and they say, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. This is how I'm gonna get them to fall for this, and this is how I'm gonna get the votes on this. I'll allow you to do this, and that'll trigger this over on this side, and this is how we keep doing.
There's a mutual assurance for immunity from anything on either side, because unless there's an agreement to throw somebody to the wolves, they're going to cover for one another.
Look how easy it is to spark it, though.
If we don't have career politicians at this point calling out the Bidens, walking out of state legislation, walking out of the federal government and stating, you know what, the FBI is bullshit. This is what I propose. I propose the disbandment of all of these three-letter agencies. They're acting not in accordance with constitutional law. They need to be done. We're not seeing that. We're not seeing these politicians, so they can play the issues, the little ones here and there, and especially with this like COVID shot that everyone's talking about, and how the CDC and unelected body voted. Say, oh, guess what? Your kids are gonna have to take this over my fucking dead body. But guess what? Parents stand up. But it's voting season. See, people don't see the optics. They don't see these operations going on behind closed doors. They're not touching their fucking kids. They have more than enough data to understand that a majority of this nation said no to these jabby jabs. And if they said no to these jabby jabs, they're saying no to their fucking children. So
absolutely.
At the end of the day, it's all because, and you have to wonder why now. Why now? Why now? They just opened up like early voting, or they're going to open up early voting.
Actually, yeah.
And magically we're going to drop all this crazy shit. See, that's what politicians do. That's what they do. They drop this, they tell this person to do this, and there's like not covered. If they were going to do this and they were going to get away with it, you wouldn't have seen any of this shit. You would have found out the facts. You wouldn't have been able to call in. You wouldn't have been able to like see them vote and see their names. It's all optics, because that's
distraction.
Dropped on one of those bills at 3:00 in the middle of the night, and fucking everybody signed on it, and then you'd have heard about it a couple days later.
Correct.
Yep.
So just think about, everything that's going on right now. Take everything with a freaking grain of salt. I know parents right now, like me, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna fucking homeschool my kids if I have to. Not like, I'm not afraid. All right, these are my children. I don't know, this government and local government and these schools think that they're their kids. They're gonna learn real fucking quick. They're gonna learn real quick. These are our children.
They've already had people in school board meetings across the fucking country that have pushed back against the mask mandates and all this shit, the restrictions, all of it, the testing, all of it. And so if you think that was bad, now imagine what them school board meetings are going to be like.
And what did they call them? They called them terrorists.
Terrorists.
Yeah. Yep. 150%.
And that was they started throwing around the.
If defending the Constitution of the United States and defending my kids' rights makes me a fucking terrorist, I'm a fucking terrorist. Just like Freedom said, I'm a terrorist of fucking tyranny.
I've been called worse.
Call me a traitor any day of the week.
Yeah. Because
I'm a traitor to tyranny. And if you support this agenda, this globalist agenda, like I can't even turn on whenever I hear about this Joe Biden, the guy doesn't even know where he's at half the time. He's like, do I go what? Okay. Like, come on, guys. Come on. This government has been infiltrated. Okay. Our enemies have infiltrated this nation, the government, and they're using every federal entity to their power. It's insane. It's insane. Like on the news and them saying, the DOJ thinks they have enough to get Trump for obstruction. I'm thinking, motherfucker, I have enough. I'm not even a lawyer. I have enough to file indictments against Biden, the Clintons, freaking
Pelosi?
On my phone.
Like,
I have enough fucking evidence on my phone. Should have died every one of them sons of bitches. So you're telling me the FBI, the CIA, none of them fucking 300 agencies
hold
tested
on,
us?
don't be saying you got dirt on Hillary, bro. We know what happened.
I've already said if I die, I'm not suicidal. I love my family. I love my kids. I love my country. I never would kill myself. I think it's very selfish. I would never kill myself, y'all.
So
if I get murdered, I was Clinton.
And my car is in good working order.
Hell yeah, I drive it. Yeah, exactly.
I can't honestly say that about my car.
It better be. I just bought it, so it better be in good working order.
Lying, my brakes.
Back to these.
You had me worried for a second. I was like, "What's wrong with my car?"
Nothing.
So back to the vaccines, real quick. A lot of people don't understand the main reason why
we talk about this.
A lot of people don't understand this, man.
They don't want to be held liable.
Voted on this is so that all liability goes away in regards to Pfizer, Moderna, all of these different companies.
It's a last-ditch effort to avoid accountability for what is being shown slowly but surely to everyone.
Once you get these vaccines approved for children, that's it. They're not liable anymore, and that's why they're putting it in the limited requirement in regards to shots for. That's why they.
What do you think? Do you think we've even seen? Do you even think we've seen the uprise yet of people dying from this vaccine yet? I don't think we've even seen the beginning of it, really.
I think that we're just now starting. And you know how they always talk, the corrupt government always say, "Oh, we're going to go into a dark winter and blah, blah." They know what's ever in
the dark winter right here.
It's a ticking time bomb. And I just read another report today. An 18-year-old, just turned 19, college football player, just poop. Another one.
I seen that.
I told.
I'm literally seeing it. It's to the point here. Here's the crazy thing. It's to Australia, where the government now literally put out ads and says, if you have a family member that has died from a COVID shot, we will now pay for your funerals.
Well, how many other countries at this point now have basically stopped pushing the vaccine? They
Yeah, so that's, when and that's why I try to tell parents before you go and rip your kids out of school. Obviously, yes, it's time to stand up. It's time to go to these school boards and start telling these freaking that you don't run us. You don't run our children. You don't tell us what to do with our children. These are our children. We tell you what to do.
Local is where you do it.
Of our tax dollars for either the county, city, or state. Okay, you work for us, not the other way around, right? But sooner or later, I'm going to tell you, it's going to come to a head. And here's the thing. The elections are right around the freaking corner. I'm seeing every fucking the Democrats, and this is I look at all the different platforms, right? The Democrats' platform right now is realistic. Their main platform, especially up here in Washington State, their main platform is abortion. They want to kill babies for some reason. That is like, and they go on TV and they're like, we're fighting. Yeah, we're fighting for female. We're fighting for females' reproduction rights. And I'm like, how is ending a child's life reproductive?
Stacey Abrams said yesterday, she said the reason that we have a problem paying $5 a gallon for fucking diesel and have a problem with our fucking groceries is because we're having kids and we're being forced to have kids. If we could kill our kids, we wouldn't be mad about fucking paying $5 a gallon for fucking gas or diesel. Fuck off, bitch.
Do you know who says that shit? Communists.
China. I would expect that out of fucking China, not.
Yeah. You have
somebody running for governor in fucking Georgia. Yeah.
You guys were talking about the deaths and has it just started? If you guys remember, a few weeks ago, I attended a friend's funeral. I told Brad and Mike about it.
Yeah.
I talked to his wife. I mean, she's a friend of mine as well, so I was able to ask her some questions. But because I hadn't talked to him in a couple years, but we were still friends. It's just time. But anyway, he was 39 years old, and I said, "Did you find out what happened to him?" He had a blood clot. And I said, "Was he vaccinated? Can I ask you?" And she said he was. And I'm like, "Hon, just look into it." And I don't try. I didn't want to add any kind of pain to her. But again, she's a friend of mine, so I was able to talk to her.
They need to be looking into it. They need to fucking be talking, and they need to be filing lawsuits.
That's all I'm trying to say. He banged his knee, and it got inflamed, and then he was found dead in his chair from a blood clot at 39. Yeah, I've never heard of nobody dying like that before. Now, this is somebody I know. I attended his funeral. He was a friend. So it's starting to happen. And it sucks.
Like those, that'd be considered maybe a deep vein thrombosis, right? It's when you smash a portion of your body and blood coagulates in a certain area. But yeah, if he hurt himself, next thing you know, he had that jabby jab in him. Yeah, he could have literally just pulled up all of this goo and pushed its way to his freaking heart, and then next thing you know, boom, or to his brain.
Left three little kids without a daddy.
We're gonna see more of this.
That's the morticians talking about the patients or the people that are coming in and they're going to drain their fucking blood. They're having to cut 5-6 entry points. Normally they can cut one spot, drain their bodies. Now they're having to literally drag the stuff out of their body.
You know.
I got one question. One question for you.
Go ahead.
Let's say 3 years ago. Let's say 4 years ago. If I told you what the fuck was going on,
I thought you were Alex Jones.
If I just popped up and say, "Hey, man, I know you don't know me, okay, but I'm from the future. You might want to sit down. This is what's going to happen." What would you? We'll go one by one. What would you guys say to me after telling you the lockdowns, the injections, the stolen elections, the tyranny, the human trafficking, the illegal acts and crimes against children that are coming out? What would you say? Go, Michael.
I would have believed it all, but I've been fucking conspiracy nut job for, I don't know, 15 years. I would have believed it all. I've been reading this shit. I mean, literally, I would have thought you were like Alex Jones, but Alex Jones said it was going to happen. Like, I've been following Alex Jones for a long time.
So let me back it up. So we talk about Alex Jones. Here's the cool thing that people they're not even seeing the silver lining on that case.
Okay, I want to hear it because I hadn't seen it either.
Amazing, and I was thinking about it earlier today. So if a man, an individual, could be sued for misinformation of billions of dollars, right? How much was the payout?
$1 billion, $998 million.
So, yeah, 80-something million dollars.
Because you called Sandy Hook a false flag, and I'm going to tell you might want to story before you start laughing.
No, it's just insane to think about.
We're going to leave that at that. But the silver line is this, okay? If you could sue him for misinformation, for stating this was this and it wasn't this, he just opened the precedence for every doctor, every patient, every piece of shit that said these fucking vaccines are safe and effective.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sacrificial pawn.
But we have to have a justice system that's going to back us up, and currently
it's precedence for a fucking reason. And guess what?
Yeah, I get it.
Whenever you have case law like that and Fed case law, guess what? You revert back to it. You revert back to that ruling. So every fucking person should be filing lawsuits that have been injured by their doctors, by the personalities on TV saying, "Oh, it's safe and effective. Oh, hey, oh no, if you take this, oh, you won't contract COVID 100%." All the way up and down. He just set a precedence, and people are literally like not even putting two and two together.
Yeah,
he literally just did. Okay. So now I could sue for somebody putting out misinformation.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Brad,
cool.
let me ask you one quick question. Do you think another precedence was set though as well, to the point where misinformation is now something that they can charge us with? Don't you think that's a scare tactic?
That's true.
So that's
the one I was looking at.
Especially if they're talking about repealing Section 230.
So understand
with our current administration and our current DOJ, that's the way I'm looking at it, is now anybody can come after us for fucking what we've said on TikTok and say it was misinformation because TikTok said it was misinformation.
So there's a difference. There's a difference between criminal law, right, and just normal civil law.
Civil law.
Sure.
He wasn't charged criminally, dude. He didn't commit a fucking. There's no.
He didn't kill the kids.
I want somebody to codify. I want somebody at this point to codify misinformation. I'll wait. Show me in Fed law, USC, Title 18. Show me where it's codified that this is criminal.
Right.
Okay? No, this was some bullshit civil shit. But that's want to go after motherfuckers. You want to go after motherfuckers? Go ahead. Go ahead. Start suing these people. Start bankrupting these motherfuckers, man. Start bankrupting these companies and these news agencies for saying this shit has been safe and effective. The biggest thing we should be looking at is all the individuals that went on, including Biden, getting on TV and saying, if you take this shot, you will not contract COVID-19.
Well, I mean,
that you can transmit it or receive it. Oh, okay.
It's also every one of these companies that forced vaccines, including the military, to keep their jobs. Yeah, that's coercion. That's a federal felony. That's a felony. It doesn't matter if it's the fucking if it's a company or the government doing it. It's coercion is a felony.
Looking at crime, it's so widespread. You'd be looking at crimes, against humanity, and then the coercion part. But that's the world court, and we're not going to get into that just yet.
Now we need some lawyers here in the United States to grab their nutsack and start doing something to help us out.
What we need are all those sovereigns.
Do something.
Those sovereigns that have dug their balls deep, sank themselves balls deep into all this law to step up and be like, okay, let's do this because this is my forte. The actual.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say one last thing. They're not going to win. Okay. Whatever they're up to, whatever plans they have schemed, the left, the right. The problem is, and we said this earlier, and I've said this for a very long time, you fucked with the wrong generation. You should have waited. You should
20 years. 20 fucking years, man.
Almost had it. But guess what? They realized through the analytics, they watch our data, they listen to us 24/7. They realize that doesn't smell right.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
And I just verified this as true.
You put
my independent fact checker.
All I'm saying is, and we talk about 3%ers, right? So real quick, 3% of this nation picked up arms against a tyrannical insurgency in this country, which was England, okay? Only 3% of the individuals that lived here actually fought, okay? Picked up arms and decided to revolt. 3%. 3%. The military is only 1% of this nation. How many retired combat veterans do you think we have in this country right now that are pissed?
I'd say probably at least 30, 40 million.
And hopefully somebody's listening right now, because I'm going to tell you, they have allegiance to a mindset. They have an allegiance not to the government, okay, to an idea, okay?
This is the thing that the government's going to quickly learn, and I think everybody will understand. When it comes down to it, we the people, we're not going to have a problem with desertion. But those that support the government, those that fight for the government, those that stay with the government, they're going to have a problem with desertion. That's if it comes down to that, the only ones that are going to fucking have a problem with desertion and keeping enough people to actually go at it are the government.
They realize that this deception of division and racism and sexuality, it's all dying.
Inflation is hurting everyone. Even
tired of it.
Inflation's hurting everyone, even the propaganda budget.
When I turn on social media and I see nothing but the black community turn around and saying, we're not systemically racist, I sit back and I'm like, it gives me so much hope, because I see different demographics that are actually waking up. The same way, white community turn around saying, this is all bullshit.
People actually started discussing the policies and discussing how things have gone and coming to the same conclusion that it's all been the policy, failed fucking policy. It's all come from this
government. We're not systemically racist. Government has pushed it in our ear, in our butthole for the last probably hundreds of years.
Hot racist enemas.
They got better, and they have goals. I'm going to tell you, when they own the news, the radio, and all they do is they constantly spit and they constantly change up words, right? So they'll take a shooting that they find out maybe a black individual was shot, you know, a white individual, and right off the bat they'll turn around and say, well, you know, these people or whatever, or they'll just dump the racists right off the bat, right? Whatever fits their means to divide, that's how it does it, right? White cop shoots a black guy, guess what? Oh, that's going to be all over that. The race is going to be involved.
That goes back to what Michael was saying.
A black cop shooting a black cop, you're not going to hear about it. And if you do hear about it, it's just going to be a cop shoots local person. Because now they're going to change it up. They're going to say, well, people should hate cops now. Now we can't run the racist shit. Now we're going to have everyone turn against cops. Okay? And that's how it happens here. Are we systemically racist? No. What we do is we buy into the bullshit because we are literally a country of individuals that don't think for themselves. They literally turn on the TV, turn on the news. That we have a span like the mind span of a fucking like canary, like a freaking like squirrel.
We got
right? So when we
all got ADHD from the shit the government's been putting in the food.
We turn on the news. Next thing you know, we just read the caption. We're like, that's it. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
Echo chamber just reinforces the very mentality they gave you in the education system, bro. Like, you can look at.
You want to know how to end racism?
Stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Turn the fucking TV off.
Oh, there you go.
Start there. Start there.
Stop
listening to the news. Stop listening to the news on the other side of the fucking country.
Stop. You're making sense. We don't want to hear it.
Censored.
Washington State, and I see a story come up.
You've been muted.
Right? And I see that played a factor in this. How does that involve me?
Agent Smith has entered the conversation. Got that shit out.
Here, get mad and start rioting out here, and it's like, well, hold on a second. That shit didn't happen here. That shit happened like in New York.
Oh, well, think about this, dude. And again, it reinforces the shit. They listen, Kyle Rittenhouse was perfectly done, dude. I'm going to say the way the media sensationalized it, and they started sensationalizing it from day one, knowing it was a lost cause and that boy was not going to be convicted from day one. And it reinforced on the left that it was all what everything.
Let me drop some of my theories on you. You said it. It reinforced. Do I think that situation went down the way it did just because you saw something and bang, bang, and somebody had a fucking video and there was like 40
No, it was righteous. But that's the point. We would have never saw it if they didn't want us to. We would have never saw it.
You're not getting what I'm saying, brother. What I'm saying is there's a lot to that story. All the way to how he shot up in Stardom, and then he's meeting with all these people at CPAC. I'm just saying, when you say that solidifies a point to me, when I see this stuff and I think, wow, this man had an AR-15, was able to run down the streets. Cops let him go for some frickin' reason. Just after he shot some frickin', people in self-defense, tried to tell him, but literally left. To me, a lot of these videos don't make any fucking sense. And I've seen even worse false flags. Now, when you sit there and say, well, false flag, this is a conspiracy theory. Look, everything is being shown to you for a reason. That's all I'm saying. So whether it solidifies the left, and guess what? If it solidifies the right, it pisses off the left.
If you know about it, it's because they want you to.
So all I'm saying is a situation, if I look at it this way, if I was stuck in a situation, I just smoked one fool and I was coming down the street and there's people coming up to me left and right. And I ended up shooting one person and dropped him. Do you really think everyone would just left me alone at that trick? I'm going to tell you, it'd be like fucking Mogadishu, dude. I'd be running. There'd be people coming out of the woodwork trying to stomp my guts in.
I've seen that happen when cops show up after hearing gunfire and they see someone running down the street with a gun. What do they do, Mr. Freedom Stick?
Oh, dude, you're either gonna get commands within a couple seconds. You're gonna get
shot.
Dropped.
Yeah.
So it's, to me, watching all of this, it almost seemed kind of scripted. And then next thing you know, it's in the middle of all of this bullshit, all of this racial shit in the same area.
And every time it starts to die down, they drop a new bit of information that just sets it afire again.
Look at his connections. People didn't even do research on this kid, man. I'm just saying, there are operations on both sides. You want to talk about division? Both sides are conducting operations here. It's not just a left agenda, because when the right conducts operation, guess what? It fuels the left. How many people do you think were pissed off that dude walked free?
A lot.
How many people do you think solidified the way that they thought after that were on the left? Okay.
Extremism justified.
That when I do this in the future, just understand what I'm saying. There's a lot that doesn't make any sense, but what does make sense is people need to start using their fucking critical thinking skills. They need to understand that, yes, this government conducts operations against them. What government doesn't? Okay.
Daily.
It happens every fucking day. Okay. As soon as you turn the news on, as soon as you turn your phone on, you're being bombarded with propaganda, and you have to decide what to sift through. Now, what I want people to do after walking out of this live or listening to this is say this. Let's do a 5 and 25. In the military, we call this 5 and 25. A lot of my buddies always hear me talking about this. Okay. It's a 360-degree perimeter check. And what I want people to do is start off at 5 meters and work your way out. The problem is when people get up in the morning, instead of looking on where they're going to put their foot on the ground, sliding out of bed, what do? They grab their phone and they're instantly teleported to Ukraine, Russia, England, DC. But instead of worrying about what the fuck is going on around them, boom, they're worried about fucking global shit instead of worrying about local shit. You ask yourself, how did it get so bad? How did it get so bad with our kids?
They got us focusing on everything but
all you're focusing on is the globalist bullshit, and you're not doing your 5 and 25. So what I want people to do is when they get up in the morning, before your foot hits the ground, check the ground. And start.
I've been saying that for years.
Start walking your way out. And then when you decide that you understand the bigger battle picture around you and what is affecting you today, then pick up your phone. But we do it ass backwards.
Yep.
We did why we're controlled by propaganda, because of this cool little thing that we have right here. This was all by design. Okay.
Now you see why he's been banned.
All this propaganda all at fucking once, okay? So that you don't do the 5 and 25s. You don't see the threat that is right around the corner. You don't see the threat within your school system because you're too worried about what the fuck swamp creatures are doing in DC.
They do everything to keep you busy and keep you unaware and uninformed. Anything and everything to keep you occupied so that you don't do that inner reflection, that self-introspection and paying attention to what's around you.
And us putting out information like he's saying right there is the same reason why we're excommunicated and unpersoned online. Destroying a motherfucking narrative and trying to wake people up to see with your fucking eyes open for the first time in your life.
I've finally
Brad's helped me to do that in many ways.
I can't...
Real quick, Rob. He's helped me to do that in so many ways. Things where I thought I had seen some things and I knew some shit. This motherfucker has helped me tremendously. So when he speaks, I listen. And that's why we're dangerous. Because not that we're a threat to people, we're a threat to a narrative. And it's because of that right there.
Correct.
Yep.
Sorry, Rob. I
can't be
get
controlled.
it out real quick, man. Yeah. No, not gonna be controlled. That's just it.
Never.
We refuse to be controlled, and we want the masses around us to feel the same way. That rebel blood is in our bodies. Tap the fuck into it.
That's why when people always ask Michael, Tony, me, they always hit us up, and they say, well, you get taken down so much on social media. Why don't you try hiding your face? Or why don't you try, you know what I tell them? The fuck I will. I will not. They will hear me. They will see my fucking face.
No, because listen, this has been the thing. It's been constant. It's been a constant back and back and back and back and back, and we've been getting pushed back into the fucking wall. And at this point, we've all come to the terms that showing our face or not, they know who we are. They know what we got to say. And when they want to come after us, they're going to come after us. But you know what? Since we know what it is, then we're on even playing fields and we can talk that talk now. We can address it.
If you don't think you're being tracked and the NSA, CIA, these three-letter agencies don't have something on everyone that they could just type something in with your facial recognition, pick you up on a street camera.
Forewarned is forearmed.
Dude, it is what it is.
You've allowed us to open our fucking mouths. Honestly, you've created the ability for us to open our mouths at this point because we already know where we stand now. Like,
I'm a troll. I'm literally a troll on social media to the point where I'll use their communist platforms to get my word out. Can you imagine? when I was conducting operations and I could only imagine if the enemy got our freaking frequencies, our encrypted frequencies, and all of a sudden started talking, I'd be like, those motherfuckers.
The very weapons that you created to try and control everyone will be the very ones we use to destroy you.
And we have been. And we haven't stopped yet.
You're getting taken down on TikTok and we can't see you, and Instagram's doing this, and this. So I'm like, look.
You know where to find me?
Cool. They're all applications that are meant to push propaganda and subsidize human beings. So if I can get my word out as long as I can, I'm going to. If I can make an account for 50 minutes and get one fucking video that spreads like wildfire, that's what they're afraid of. Here's the biggest thing.
Viral. Everything you guys do goes viral.
Yeah.
They are so afraid that if and this is why they should be afraid, because if it ever comes down to the shit, comes down to the signaling of something happening, they are so afraid of my face, your face, your face, your face, because all it would take is one freaking video.
I need my Texas Patriots to rise up.
Listen, how many times over the span of all of your accounts and stuff like that, when you say shit, how many times have you seen the comment over and over and over again? Say when, say where.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing though on that app is none of us, out of the three of us, I don't know about you, Rob, but none of us have ever fucking advocated for taking it to the streets.
We have always
We've had
until we can't.
We've had people in our group that literally, as soon as they started talking that bullshit, I looked at these guys and said, that guy's out of our group. I said, number one, this day and age with technology, number one, I don't really know who this person is. And then they come in and they're like, we should take arms up and we should run to DC. And I'm like, I looked at these guys, I was like, I'm with that guy. That guy's either a fed or we don't mess around with that, because this is not preemptive. I'm not trying to go out in the preseason.
Exactly.
I'm waiting for
what is written in the Constitution and even in the Declaration is not a violent revolution, overthrow of a government. It is defense against tyranny. Being able to defend oneself. That is
tyranny.
That is it.
Right.
So when you take that step outside of defense, you become offensive. You have stepped beyond the bounds of your protections of the Constitution. You have stepped beyond. These are the things, and they already have continuity of government protocol. If you don't think that the minute that you get, even if it were to happen, the minute that they got anybody, there's already people stepping into those roles, putting into bunkers, and they're already it's going.
They sent out their last continuity of government report in like 2017, 2018. They basically deemed FEMA, the federal agency that's going to take over everything. So yeah, if you topple whatever, FEMA's going to step in.
Have you seen those executive orders?
Yes, I have.
Everybody that's prepping, great. Prepping is great. Getting shit together, starting those networks is great. But if you guys don't use community to defend what you have, they will try to come for it.
Oh,
they will come and take it.
There's an executive order during the Obama administration. I think like the War Times Act or what am I looking for? It's the act that basically during World War II, after World War II, it's like the Reappropriation Act of all of your stuff, right? So when we went through World War II, my grandmother, she had to turn in all of her pots and pans, any precious metals to go towards the war effort, right? So that that order itself was in wartime status, where the government could come in, confiscate your food, confiscate your livestock, confiscate your water, anything that could help out the government forces for the war.
I've been telling everybody.
Obama took that act and now changed it to a non-wartime status. So that means, everyone, this corrupt government, as we speak, could come to your property at any given time and say, you are now subsidized. We are now taking oh, cool. Oh, you have livestock? Now ours. You have chickens? Now ours. You have water supply? Now ours.
And who they've been going after?
And guess what? You're a doctor? You're a doctor? Okay. Now you got forced labor's in there as well. Okay. Do you think that every mom and wife wanted to go work in these No.
Yeah.
Specialized back in the day.
Do not let them get you on the buses. Very simple.
So, people need to wake up, man. People need to wake up. But here's the cool thing again. Constitutionally, a lot of this is unconstitutional, man. But who would know that? Because all we do is we pick up our fucking phone. Like, how many people do you think that are going to listen to this actually have a Declaration of Independence, federalized papers, the Bill of Rights in their home, or the U.S. Constitution? I do. How many do you think probably listening here has actually read them?
What?
Maybe it's time you pick those fucking pieces of legislation.
I say it all the time.
Why do you think they don't teach cursive?
Needs to be rewritten. It needs to be fucking read and reread. And then
I understand that, but fuck all that. The digital age, you can get fucking plain English fucking transcripts. You have no excuse.
The fact is that it's not taught in schools at all anymore. Not just the cursive, but those documents.
But there's a reason why they did stop teaching cursive. In my opinion, I think that's a lot of it.
Well, ask yourself, why do Christian schools teach cursive? See, the school that my children go to, they teach them cursive. They teach them the Pledge of Allegiance. They teach them about their constitutionally protected rights. That's crazy talk, isn't it? Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, they want our generation to be able to pick up the founding fathers' documents, to be able to read it for themselves. The last thing I want to do is a tyrannical government try to interpret it to me, or some corrupt.
I want to read the real thing.
No, actually what it says. Think about how when the Bible, was basically put together, how many revisions we have, because these individuals over here said, well, we kind of think this means this because this word and this language is not around anymore. Think about it the same way. You're going to have these POSs that are going to turn around and say, well, they actually meant this.
Yep.
Okay. That word we don't use in musket. What is musket? There's
already do.
Well, this is the nice thing about it. I've been on TikTok, and this is what really pisses people off, is because I've been able to combat every fucking argument that they've given me with words from the founders themselves. When they say, oh, well, that's not what the Constitution says. Okay, well, if the Constitution's not good enough for you, how about the father of the Constitution? How about from James Madison? How about from Patrick Henry? How about from Thomas Jefferson? Here's all the things that they said that say you're fucking wrong. It's not just the Constitution. This government has granted themselves fucking powers beyond anything that the founding fathers would not recognize the government, not just because of technological advancements, but because of how it functions.
Washington probably would have been stacking bodies by now, but
yeah, he would have.
You know what's freaking cool? My kid came home and I heard him singing downstairs. I'm like, is that my son singing? He's singing the first 10 presidents of this great nation. He's singing their names to try to remember, because I teach in a school. And I'm literally like, I go downstairs, I'm like, wow, man.
That's a proud moment.
Yeah.
That's what we need, okay?
I just made a video about this before this.
Their children, not first on how to write a check, how to balance a checkbook, pay their tax. No, when they started talking about that shit in school, and I started sitting back and started thinking, like, why don't we talk about not just American history? Why don't we talk about constitutional history? Why don't we talk about that in our schools? But no, right off the bat, you got to get ready for life. You got to learn how to pay. Well, you got to learn how to be a citizen first, and you have to learn about your rights as a citizen, so you don't get the big fucking green jammed in your motherfucking ass.
Pretty much. Who can take your money?
Yeah. What do you guys think our next step should be to taking this country back? What do you think this election?
I think that's the first start. Get out and vote. I mean, I know it's an uphill fight because
my personal perspective on it is when it comes to the voting, at least, if you're not focused on your local, if you're not getting your local, your sheriff, stuff like that, you the rest of it don't matter.
We're still talking about a broken system. See, that's the problem. There's too many, like, oh, go out and, I hear politics. I'll go out and flood the vote and do this, and this. We're still talking about this broken down Pinto that's barely making it down the road. And we're saying, hey, let's put some really good gas in it. Maybe they'll put it further down the road.
Get that premium in there.
Listen, okay. The bottom line at this point, the way I look at it is, number one, we're behind enemy lines. Okay. The veil has been lifted. We have politicians on the left and right that have been fucking bleeding us dry for as long as they've been in office. We have some politicians who've been in office for 50 fucking years and ain't done shit with this fucking nation. And their predecessors and their little fucking cronies are going to follow them in that suit. So what I'm saying is, this is where we are. 2 years into it, they tried to lock us down, tried to choke us the fuck out, tried to destroy our futures, tried to mass inject us with fucking poison, tried to demonize American patriots for loving their flag, for trying to stand up for each other. Okay, so where are we at? Any tactician at this point would say, I'm fucking behind enemy lines here, and shit ain't gonna fucking change until we physically do something. Now, I'm not saying rise up. What I'm saying is there's a fight coming, and it's a brewing. Okay, these individuals are looking for this final fight. They are going to move in and choke us out. So what I'm trying to say is, instead of worrying about voting, because it's still a broken system any way you fucking look at it, go out and vote by all means. That is your only line of defense to say, you know what, this is how we're going to change America. No, we change America by turning off the bullshit. We change America by everyone standing up and seeing something, saying something. We change America by walking across the street and knowing your fucking neighbors.
Yeah.
That's
community.
We change America and we change the stance when we start giving a shit about each other and stop giving a shit about these politicians and their bullshit in the news and all this fucking shit that they flood us with 24/7. That's when it starts working. When we turn around, we say, hey, you know what? Recession, guess what? I'll up it one. I'm looking for the depression and I'm going to be fucking ready for it. And guess what? I'm going to sit around with my neighbors and we're going to come up and we're going to utilize our skills that we've learned in life.
Public sector.
That's okay. You guys have been kicked off so many times. You haven't gotten to keep up. I've actually started using my voice on the app finally, but that's what we've been trying to get out there, is that message of unity and community.
I've seen it.
Pulling ourselves away from the things in the government that we
rely
on.
So many people are stuck in that left and right mentality, and one of the things that keeps them there is no feasible alternative. I've wanted to try and present a feasible alternative that we see take place already. Not even anything difficult, but networking, because here's the thing, like, you see it happen when disasters hit, like down in Florida. What happened? It was the public sector that answered. Texas, the public sector that answered. When the government's still fumbling and trying to put out a press release, the public sector steps up, gets shit done, and handles shit. Why can we not do that? At least with the ones that already see it, know it happening, using our voices, our message. By the way, Benny the Bouncer, Tony, wanted me to pass this message along to you. Your voice is a weapon. Use that shit.
And Schmaus says hi to everybody and was disappointed that this wasn't like a huge group podcast. We've been messaging back and forth when I bounce completely out of screen. So Tony, Schmaus
the updates about this are already going out and fluttering everywhere.
I haven't posted anything. I've been fielding messages about your new account not being a real functional account.
So bring up a point. What happens when there's no electronic media sources out there? Let's just say tomorrow this whole fucking thing drops out. What are these what are Americans around this nation going to do?
Huh? Man, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, me too.
Here's what, whenever somebody talks about darkness and the whole grid going down, I hope it does. And the reason I hope it does is because it resets everything. Because at the end of the day,
even playing field.
Understand this. Tyrants will never let this grid drop out. You know why? Because then they lose.
It's their control.
Yeah.
And they lose connection with all of their constituents.
My liberal neighbor is going to come over here and talk to me. My liberal neighbor is going to come over here and talk to me, and he's going to ask me, Mike, what the fuck's going on, man? I know you know, like, more than I do. What's going on?
Yeah.
And he's going to fucking get a truth bomb like no fucking other. And he's going to wake the fuck up all within like a 3 fucking hour conversation. And then he's going to call, he's going to fucking drive down the road, and he's going to tell his dad, this is what the fuck's going on. That shit's not coming. You know what I mean? Like, that's not happening because they fucking know. They'll lose every fucking bit of power they have.
And that's what I'm saying. So if the power ever goes out and we lose communication, electronic media goes down, don't freak out. Because to me, I'm going to smile because number one, I'm a survivalist, man. I've been
on my fucking phone so far.
But I will smile because now I realize, guess what? They just lost upper hand because now they disconnected themselves from everyone. And that means our neighbors could look across the street and go talk to each other, no matter what their differences were before. Guess what? All it's going to take that one time for you to help out that neighbor that thought you were racist because you were a certain color. You were sexist because you bumped this music going down the street, right? All it's going to take is for that switch to go out and people to start looking at each other and start having actual conversation. Think about it like this. Why is the big push on this fucking virtual rap and Facebook bullshit, right? They don't want to have actual relationships with people. Think about all these dating apps and all this other stuff. Do you think it's just there because it's more convenient, right? You have all these dating apps. They're all swipe right, swipe left.
Why do you think they're all free?
It's all part of this, bro. Because what it does is it dehumanizes you from actually having true relationships and going out in public and actually fucking talking to people, right? So when I swipe left and I'm like, hey, I want that person. Everything you want, everything now, news now, tell me now. You want dating, relationships now, and then you wonder why your fucking marriages are failing after fucking a year, okay? Because we want everything now. Got sucked into this fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. Turn the shit off. Turn the shit off. Start talking to people. Start doing your 5 and 25s and start working your way out. It'll do nothing but help our situation here in the United States. So when they start lying to us, we could turn to our friends that we used to hate and we could say, they're up to it again, aren't they? Look at this bullshit.
I mean, that's fucking sad. I told you so.
Yeah.
Just fucking, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah.
And that's where that civil disobedience and that unity just, it prevents them from even getting a foothold in any of it.
This is literally left against right. This is literally evil against good.
Evil against good. Off subject, but how much money do you guys think TikTok has spent changing their algorithm, changing their tactics? Like, I honestly think when I get on there, here lately, Brad, you get on there, you make a fucking account. You can't friend people. You can't follow people. You can't fucking message people. I think that is
create an account.
Hang on.
To one of you guys.
I'm not trying to be like boastful or something, but I honestly think these tactics that they're pulling now is because of us.
Yeah,
because they know they have to.
Tony's been trying to say something here for a while.
I didn't get to finish my thought on the whole when I was talking about elections.
That was my fault.
Real quick.
That was my fault.
I was saying, I think that you should, that we do need to start by going and voting. You have to do it. Don't just assume that they're going to cheat and not go and vote because, listen, we got to try. We got to try to do this civilly. And if that does not work in this November and they cheat again, I don't know what's going to happen. But like Brad said, there's a fight coming. But once that box is open, that's it, man. There is no going back from that. It's fight until somebody wins.
I got this for you.
I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there, but we're heading there.
Can you imagine, Tony, if we got everyone together and we said, don't vote? And then
what would happen?
And then magically election night, all these numbers start rolling in and we turn around and say, that's kind of weird because 80% of this nation didn't fucking vote.
Well,
so
that would be something.
On all these votes. That's crazy talk.
Well, that would be interesting. It's a little for this election, though.
Go get your card, but don't actually vote. Hold your card right here. Then check the rolls for the voting machines and compare it. Like, bro, my vote's been here.
Let's see who I voted for.
You have the left and the right constantly telling you to go vote. Yes, look. The left and the right wants you to vote because at the end of the day, if you don't vote, the whole system will come crashing out. That's all people would have to see is that one event where we had a walkout in the nation said, no longer are we going to be told to vote for corrupt individuals. And how about this? We hold our fucking vote in 2022. And guess what? When they flood the system and all these numbers, your governors and your legislators, you're going to turn around and be like, wow, that's crazy.
It's basically the
that's weird.
biggest non-violent power move.
Correct.
It's a flex.
But nobody wants to do that. Everyone, and like I said, when you have the left and the right constantly say, oh, vote early. Oh, do this, but make sure you vote. Because if we just all stood up and said on election night, we're not voting, right? And we stood in solidarity, but didn't
that's what I
broadcast 24/7. And then all of a sudden, right afterwards, we see this huge turnout from one of these politicians. We could turn around and say, fuck, that's crazy.
Well, that's
because of the county didn't even vote.
It was what I was saying in one of my last videos. I was like, I hear everybody's willingness to suddenly, like, everybody's so willing to go ahead and fight. Everybody's willing to fight. But it's like the minute that you start talking about, all right, well, what about defiance? Like, that's part of this, is defying them. The minute you now nobody's like, well, like the consequences. Like, do you think that the consequences for defying them are greater than for fighting them? Like, you do realize that don't make sense.
That's the point I'm trying to make, and hopefully I get this across to anyone that's listening. The only way you're going to reset this broken political system is by stepping away, allowing them to cheat in front of us, and then us turning around and say, 90% of this nation didn't vote. How the fuck did you get those numbers? And it helps on the left and right. So you'll have people on the left. Listen to this. You'll have people on the left that be like, that still believe, 2017 election, this and that. Everyone could turn around and say, I see what's happening now. The left and the right could say, they've been fucking cheating. The left and the right? So if you're a Democrat, you want to reset the system, you want people that you're voting for to get into office, don't vote. If you're a Republican, I would say, and this is just me, this is how you reset the system. This is how you reset it, but nobody wants to talk about this.
You take back the consent. That vote is almost like it's your fucking consent to this shit.
Don't vote that night and watch them steal the shit right in front of you. So the left should be pissed and the right should be fucking pissed.
Instant unity.
Person in.
Before I bounce, I got about 6 minutes.
Sorry, I'm going to shut up now.
No, you're good, brother. Dude, I love listening to you, man. But here's my question.
Keep going.
No.
Fuck, man.
Here's my question, though. They tried to cheat with Trump and Hillary. So many people hit the polls, in my opinion, that it overwhelmed the cheating. That's why they had to stop counting and start pumping in their fake ballots. And people saw that. That was an awakening of sorts, and that was by people showing up to vote. They were so pissed off, they went and voted in numbers for Trump. There's a little playback here. You guys hear that?
Yeah, it just happened. Yep. Agent Smith.
That's weird.
It's him, not you.
Going up. They're messing.
That's weird. But I think that's my point on it is getting out and voting like that. We overwhelmed them and they couldn't cheat.
Well, we did break the system. We just not defiantly.
Right.
I would not.
Wow.
That's weird.
That's weird.
What the hell?
You're confused.
They know, Instagram knows we're doing this.
Obviously, somebody does.
Yeah.
And on that note, I have to go. Work awaits. I love you guys, all of you.
We'll do it again.
This is our fight. We got this. Peace out, guys.
Absolutely. Later, homie. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to jump out of here.
All
I
right.
think we might have to end it.
Yeah.
All right, love you guys.
Love you.
Thanks,
Love you too,
guys.
brother. Good night. So, I'm still here.
Okay, we don't have
Can
to.
you still hear me?
Oh, it's been you feeding back. Or me.
It's feeding back now.
You have me on? No.
They're fucking with us, homie.
The black SUVs are going to pull up soon.
Fuck.
Do you
Wouldn't
want to?
surprise me not one bit, man.
Do you want to
What
keep?
Freedom Stick was saying? Can you hear me still?
Yeah. Do you want to keep going? 'Cause if you want to keep going, we'll close out and start it up again.
No, I was just gonna keep talking for a minute. I was just gonna say what he was saying made a lot of fucking sense though. About you want to fuck with the system, like literally, like you said earlier, anarchy. That's the only fucking thing that's gonna break this system, is if we quit playing the fucking system. We quit playing the fucking game by their rules, and we come up with our own rules to fucking play with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I Freedom Stick, man, that dude's full. Dude, we had a lot of drunk conversations in Tennessee, and even those conversations were mind blowing. That guy's a wealth of fucking knowledge. He's a tactician at heart, and he's always on the fucking tactical side of things. He's a smart man. I wish that they would leave him the fuck alone. I don't care about me. That dude right there, he could change some shit if they would leave him the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyways, good show. I think we did a good job. I think, we hit some good points, but
We'll do it again
lot more to come.
sometime. Like I said, I wanted to get the group individually at some point if you're down for it.
Anytime, man. Anytime. But yeah, I think we hit some good points. I think we could talk for hours. There's so much to fucking talk about. But I think what you're going on, the unity, that's what I've been about the whole fucking time. I think that's why TikTok won't allow us to keep accounts, build accounts, and stay on there, because we're not calling for fucking war. We're not calling for people to fucking join the streets. We're calling for people to join the streets together. Saying fuck your left side, fuck your right side. Look at what they're doing to all of us. Don't allow them to censor this fucking guy. Just
working together to be the change we want to see.
Yeah, these people don't realize though they're allowing like Andrew Tate to be fucking taken off the internet because he's offensive to women. They try to blacklist all these people. They try to censor all these people, and people don't like them. Like the first fucking fight. Like if we were going to go to the streets, it should have already happened. We should have gone to the streets fucking election night. When they stole our fucking election and we knew, woke up the next morning, should have gone to work that morning. We should have gone to the streets and said, no, fuck you. We want to recount right now. This isn't the way shit went down. But that's not what we did. If we were going to stand on a hill, when they fucking took Donald Trump off of Twitter, everyone should have fucking took every fucking social media app off their motherfucking phone that day and said, you know what, if you're going to censor fucking him, we're not going to support you. I guarantee the next day he would have been put back on there, because they're going to go fucking broke. These people only care about their fucking money, the monetization. That's all they care about. Money and power.
Keeping us buying.
Most of them already have the money. They're already too rich. They know that our fucking money system's not going to be around that long. They want the fucking power. That's where they're at now. They don't give a fuck about money. They've already got the money. They've already got the riches. They want the power now. And that's where we're at. And that's where the good versus the fucking evil comes in. Because these people are evil at heart. Bill Gates is an evil fucking person. He says he wants to depopulate the fucking earth.
Yeah.
Several people have said that are in power right now. You see these vaccines roll out. You see coronavirus roll out. What do you think that's all about? It's all about the depopulation. All about Agenda 21, which is now Agenda, 30? 33,
20,
whatever the fuck it is.
2020, I don't know.
2020, I don't know.
The lights in here are too bright, so I'm using the computer as a backdrop, but it keeps going dead on me, so.
Yeah, they're not
dead, but.
Yeah,
they're not even keeping it a secret anymore. That's what Cheever said.
That's what Cheever said.
No, it's not a secret anymore, because even if they come out and say it, they have the people on the other side so brainwashed, and not just the left side. So many people on the right side are brainwashed to think just one fucking direction. It's not even funny, and that's why we're hated on the app also by right side conservatives, because they're not real fucking conservatives, they're not real patriots, they're not real fucking constitutionalists. I would almost bet 70-80% of them have never even read through the entire Constitution, much less the Federalist Papers. I've never read the, what did you call them? The
Anti-Federalist.
The Anti-Federalist.
I've never read those, but
Patrick Henry was an Anti-Federalist. He's one of the ones attributed with making sure that and advocating for the Bill of Rights to be added. Because the Federalists didn't actually put any in there. But the Constitution itself wouldn't have been ratified without it.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's, and we were people talking about the Constitution needs to be rewritten, that it's old, it's outdated, and no, man, that Constitution never needs to go anywhere. It needs to be reread. It needs to be fucking lived by. We need to stop allowing people to pervert it and use it the way that it was intended to be used. And, I really don't know. I agree with Freedom about the changing the system up. I keep going back to that because it's mind fucking me, because the anarchy side is like, wow, yeah. But I still don't know what would happen if say we don't go vote and we see them and we watch them steal the election right out from under us. I feel like that's what we did in 2020. I think 50, 60, 70 million people at least agree that the fucking election was stolen.
Well, it's why I say that you are never going to get the unity arguing over the policies. But if you remove the policies themselves and work amongst one another in the public aspect to address those things that are directly affecting our communities, and do it in a way that completely removes the government from involvement in it, whether it's doing it in a nonprofit or whether it's doing it.
Well, I like the way you think, because like what you're going off of, I think I'm getting an idea. Like, you're talking about all these people that are wanting to pull their fucking kids out of school because of these vaccine mandates now. That's where we should be coming together. Somebody like me that has a fucking 5,000 square foot shop, I can clear out 2,000 square feet over here, find some volunteer teachers to come in and fucking teach 2 classes of fucking kids that want to homeschool. And that's what I think, that you're giving me good ideas, because I'm already homeschooling,
Public
sector. I can do that if I want. So we need to get more involved, and I like that. That's just fucking opened up a whole nother.
I was going the point that, like, when shit happens, like what happened in Texas when the power grid went out, and it was the public that came down, brought extra generators, everything. Same thing in Florida with the public sector.
I ran 896 calls. Me and my guys. I've got 7 crews. We ran 896 calls. We quit counting after 2 weeks. And I would say 80-90% of that was free work. We were just trying to make sure that we got people's water back on. We went and we rigged shit more back-asswards, more country than you've ever seen in your life.
But made it work.
Just to get people's water back on, but we made shit work. Every fucking one of them called me back, though, and said, hey, because we told them, hey, this will get you through the freeze, in a couple months you're going to need to get a hold of a plumber to come back and fix this right. Every one of them called me back, and dude, I can guarantee you, I've still got people on my list that we went and it was temporary pretty good. and they're waiting still for me to come over there and fix it. And it's been almost 2 years. And they're like, Mike, whenever you get a chance to come reroute the well house, we still want you to, you know, and we're going to make sure it doesn't freeze this year. But because the way that we treated our community and the way that I've treated the community my entire life is why my business is so successful. I've never advertised. I've got stickers on my truck because the state makes us, because of our license. That's the only reason, that's the only advertisement we've ever done. My guys wear shirts because the state tells us that we have to. And you know, not shirts, but if we have shirts, they have to have our numbers and shit on them. But anyways, that because of the way that I've been active in my community and the way that we treat our community. We help people that need help. And if more people did that, if we all started doing that, it would make a huge difference, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the idea behind. You've seen what crowdsourced funding can do, right? So I've seen people donating massive amounts of money to some of the dumbest shit. You want to eliminate taxes in the welfare system?
$80 million to Black Lives Matter?
That's what I'm saying. You want to eliminate the tax shit and the welfare system and all these programs that the government funds off of taxpayer dollars.
Yep.
Give people a public alternative that works. Show them that it works. Give people a cause to actually donate. If people will volunteer their own time, their own resource, not all about money, own time, resources, equipment, things that they have laying around and shit like that, people are always willing to help one another.
The faster people realize if we don't start coming together, and if we don't start doing this community effort together, and we don't start unifying, none of the stuff that we have now is going to matter anyways, because they don't want us owning anything. We'll own nothing and we will be happy. Well, I'm not going to fucking be happy about it, and I won't be alive for that, because I'm not going to allow somebody to come onto my property and tell me they're not going to, you know.
And I don't give a fuck what uniform they're wearing or how many there are.
No, it's not going to happen, man. I've worked my entire fucking life to create the life that I live, to create the life that I want to leave for my kids and for my grandkids, and I want to leave something for them. And whether it be giving my life for their freedoms, or whether it be my business being handed down and something that they can move on with and prosper off of, I'm giving something for my kids. I'm not going down without a fight, and nobody that I know is going to.
Exactly.
We need to unify. We need to come together. We need to.
Well, history repeats itself. And one thing that we've also seen through history, in spite of all the negative that we see in everything, and all the negative things that we see in the future, the one thing that always remains consistent as well is when the shit hits the fan, the people do come together.
They do. It's just, I'm almost with Tony on certain things, because some of these motherfuckers I don't even want to defend.
Well, we've all been
the way that they fucking portrayed us, the way that they've said, the way that they've treated us, the way that they go online and just literally.
Well, yeah, it's Stockholm syndrome. It's Stockholm syndrome. They've been in an abusive relationship for so long that they are literally fighting with the people trying to save them.
Yep. They are, and I tell people that all the time. I'm not fucking doing this for clout. I don't fucking come online and dox myself and make people fucking come to attack me and fucking call me stupid to be popular.
Well, that's
I was fucking popular in high school. I don't fucking care about popularity. High school was fucking bullshit. Life's bullshit if that's the way you fucking go through life.
It takes its toll. It takes a psychological toll with all that shit.
It does. It's affected Tony majorly, I think, because Tony's a lot like me. He's got a big fucking heart. Tony, he cares a lot about people. And with Freedom Stick was in the military. Freedom Stick's seen a lot of bad shit. and he knows how to turn that fucking switch off. Well, with Tony, I'd say with me, somehow I can turn it off for most things. Tony can't turn it off, man. He's got too big of a fucking heart. He cares too much, and it gets to him. And I fucking love that dude.
And
I feel bad.
I was at the mercy of the system.
And he has to take a break every once in a while because this shit's heavy. You know, you get into the child trafficking, you get into the deep, like, organ harvesting, or, you know, I mean, it gets fucking ugly, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's, but, you know, even without any of those conspiracies, just the shit that they're doing directly in front of us is enough to, most people should be woke. They should be awake, and they should know this isn't right.
And that's another thing I wonder how much of. Okay, we know that there's the bot resistance. We know there's those ones they always get on. They can barely spell it. It's literally like, you know, it's bot farm material. How much of the actual resistance with like actual profiles is nothing more than paid for resistance? Like, we already know they've offered to pay people on TikTok to bump propaganda. How much of that are they actually fucking doing?
There's absolutely no telling. That's why I say that's why I just brought up that question, and it's an honest question. I honestly wonder how much money that fucking app, that company, has spent just removing us off that app. Just the four of us, even, not counting the other hundreds or thousands that they're doing it to. But honestly, I don't know anyone else that has been on TikTok that has been treated the way that we have been treated.
They didn't have to spend any money doing that. All the money that they have managed to snatch from all of those people,
they took it. They've taken thousands of dollars. You know, dude, Freedom and I used to get on fucking lives, dude, and people would be giving us money. We would donate that shit to veteran causes, to different causes. But 2 accounts, they took money. I had $700 in one account, and I had $500 in the other. And it's my stupidity after the first time. The first time they actually gave me my account back. And so that's why I was like, okay, they gave me my account back. It was a mistake. So I let it build up. It was like $1,100. They fucking snatched both my accounts, or they took $5 at the time. But I had money sitting. I had maybe $2 or $3 sitting in another account. But they snatched that shit up. You're right, because they're taking people's accounts, taking their money. I turned my lives. If I did get on lives, I turned the money off. But they ruined it. I didn't even want to fucking go on live anymore because I felt like I'm making them money.
On both ends. Not only people buy whatever it is, the gifts,
50%.
Then when you go to cash out, they rip it for another percent.
Yeah, so basically somebody gives you a fucking $1, TikTok gets 50 cents, and you get 50 cents. And then, like you said, on the way out, they're still going to get another percentage. And so, yeah, it's a fucking big money-making laundering scheme as well.
Everything is.
But I quit doing lives because of that fucking reason. I'm not going to go on there and make that fucking company money, because I know when you get 1,000 people in your fucking room, they're making money off of that shit. And so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow them to fucking piggyback off of my ass if they're going to fucking delete me like that.
My lives never got past a couple hundred. And I never got to keep live. Inevitably, because I would start talking this type of shit right on my fucking live, like dumping it, like, yo, they're playing.
I never had a live banned. I got one time, I got literally just removed from the live and unfriended from the guy that I was on live with following. So I had to go back in and follow him again and then rejoin his live. And it was weird. So the next time I got kicked off of live, it wasn't even kicked off. My account got permanently banned during a live. Just logged me out and no chance to appeal. So that's when the fuckery started. But yeah, I don't know anybody else that's had the treatment that we've had on there. I know people's gotten their accounts taken down 2 or 3 weeks, a month, but literally 50 fucking minutes. Freedom made one 26 minutes the other day. It got took down. That's fucking bullshit. We're being targeted, and there's no other way about saying it, you know.
No, and the worst part
like,
there's other people too where they really they'll skirt the lines of the guidelines, but they're not actually attacking anybody or doing anything. It's just literally they're making their content. They're not doing anything, and they ban these individuals. Like, stay alive, don't die. Like, come on, that guy wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bullshit. It totally is. I'm sick of the fuckery. That's why I'm ready. You know, if they were gonna fucking pull the plug on us, fucking do it, man. Like, let us get to
I'm
fucking
less
talk
concerned
to
about
I
that.
concerned about that. The first fucking thing, I guarantee you, after 6, 7, 8 hours of the fucking electricity being off, I've got about 6 neighbors within about a mile from here that are gonna come to my house and be like, Mike, do you know what's up, man? Like, they're gonna come to me and ask.
I don't think the lights are going to go out like that. What I do think is that the government needs this world, our government needs this world more than anybody, because I think they realize that there are enough of us that are finally awake to everything going fuck on, or at least suspicious enough, that if they don't maintain control past the election.
No.
Because neither side's going to accept the result.
No, I honestly see fucking World War III popping off.
I think we're the ones that started, and that's why we started addressing the draft shit on TikTok.
Yep.
Because you're not going to tell me that you're going to start this shit and then demand that we go fight after telling us slavery is wrong, calling us racist. You can't call us a fucking draft dodger and think it means anything to us after you called us domestic fucking terrorists.
A racist, a homophobe, a domestic terrorist, fucking
fuck
you.
Throw it in there. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yep. All right, man. Well, I loved it. We're gonna have to do it again. But yeah.
Well, whenever you get the tingle.
All right, homie. Well, have a good night, man.
You too, brother.
Love you, brother.